Yes. I'm just going to ask one last question to all our presenters or all our resource persons today. Thank you so much to the audience for staying, and thank you so much to our presenters. So my last question will be to everyone. We'll start with Raina, and we'll go to Faith, Akintinde, and then Jessica, and then I'll just give a closing remark. Now, what would you say must be present in any work that must earn a distinction in academic writing? I understand that we had said earlier that you should aim to write to be understood, not to earn a distinction. But I also know that if you aim to get to the sky and you can't, you can at least get to the rooftop. So if you aim for a distinction, there are higher chances you will drop at an upper merit, because I know that all the courses I wrote and I was like, I really need a distinction in this. Even when I couldn't get a distinction, I still got upper merit. Well, if you aim for upper merit, you will land on merit. So always aim high. Now, you're going to tell us, use that course that you had a distinction, that essay that you had a distinction. Faith is going to tell us from an eye of a lecturer who has scored the scripts and who is also doing an extensive academic research, PhD. So you're going to tell us, what do you think must be present in an academic work that can earn a distinction? Final words. I know I've kept you guys for so long, so sorry about that. Let's start with Raina.
Thank you, Kuseme. I think, there are a lot of things I think that go into a piece of academic writing that can get you a distinction. I know this because I've talked to multiple professors about it, and everyone seems to have a different opinion. But I think the one thing that is constant in all of the advice, and we've touched this, is that it definitely needs to be a critical piece of writing. It needs to have your own voice and your own opinion. Merely taking certain information, describing it, and telling the reader that this is what we have, this is what we have, is, I think, not enough to an extent, because after you've taken all of that information, how much are you analyzing it? How critically are you analyzing it? And how backed up is your own opinion is very important. There are two things. First of all, that it needs to have an opinion. It needs to either, like I mentioned earlier, it needs to either have a side, so you're either supporting the stance, you're against it, or you are evaluating both, and you are trying to say that there is a gray area which needs to be addressed. This is one of the things. And I think secondly is that all of your opinions are very well backed up with either information, with literature, and any other piece of information that you're collecting from good sources. So that me as a reader, when I read a piece of academic writing, I feel like, okay, so the ultimate aim, which was introduced in the abstract of this piece of writing, that this was the question that was supposed to be answered, is being answered after thorough analysis that has been done throughout the body of the entire text. So I think that is the one thing that really needs to be there in any piece of academic writing if you want to really reach that distinction level.
Thank you so much, Raina. Akintinde, are you there? Faith will speak last because I know she has a lot to say as a lecturer. Akintinde,
what's the question?
What do you think must be present in an academic writing that can earn a distinction?
Difficult to answer, Sister, honestly. But I think, originality of ideas, matters when it comes to, and of course, it also depends on the lecturer, the course module, and the arguments you are trying to bring, on board. For instance, if you are working on any paper, there should be a general tone of academic literature on this subject matter. You must know what that is and what you are bringing on board. For instance, maybe it's an area where your lecturer researches on, so that means he or she would be in tune with the latest research in that space. And whatever you are bringing to the table must really be exceptional, if you know what I mean, in that sense. But at the end of the day, because I've seen the paper that would I mean, I've seen a paper that I think was not was better than mine that got I think 75, and I've seen myself get 82, and I was like, what's this? How did I even get it? So it's honestly difficult to judge, especially because you have different people, different ideas, different opinions, and all of that. But I would advise that you should just make sure you are submitting your best, right? You must have done your research. Make sure that your reference is up. I mean, the way you also format your reference is also really important, right? And all of that. So I really can't say, yeah, this is what to get the distinction or whatever. But I think if you make sure that what you're working on is to the best of the energy, and you give a third or a second or a third eye to look at it for you, and be very brutal in their feedback, I think it will really work. That's why I like to work with Google Doc or track changes on MS Word, so that whatever you are able to track all of that, and then to make sense with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akintinde. You see what you said about giving it to a second or third eye. Your eyes will be used to a document you have been working on for the past 2-3 weeks or 1 week. You may not be able to identify errors. It happened to me. I finished my dissertation and I thought I was done. And I was like, okay, let me just give it to a few of my colleagues to read through the typos. And the typos that came back, I was shocked. So please always try to give your work to a third person who is not used to that work to, check out typos for you. Because if you have produced an excellent critical thinking and analysis work, but full of errors, they are going to mark you down, and there's no big deal about it. They are going to mark you down. Yes.
Hello, Kusame.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry. I just want to share this experience, and I would really rush it.
Okay.
So when my dissertation was 15,000 words. So when it was like 3 days to deadline, and I had sent can you please just check this thing for me? I told him I need to submit, on Tuesday. It was on a Friday. On Saturday night, he sent me a message on WhatsApp. He was like, hey, bro, can you seek extension? I was shocked. I said, what for? He said, you have all it takes to make a good paper, but honestly, I think you need to really restructure your tone. And I was like, guy, I think I'm done. So what I checked, the feedback, this document, 15,000 words, this is not me joking. It had not less than 27 comments. Brutal comments, 27. And it was saying that I should please seek extension. I was like, guy, I can't seek extension. Today is on a Saturday. I will submit on Tuesday. There is just no miracle to get extension. Unless I said I have COVID and, something really. So I had to work. And I think I was in London for the chimney. What did we even do on that Saturday? I can't remember. We had one get together in London. So I was on my way to Brighton when the feedback came in. So from that night through Tuesday that I submitted, I honestly was working on that feedback, and it really helped because when it was not me getting out of that material, but it was just me restructuring and making my point be very punchy. Because I like to write a lot of words, so most times I'm always wordy. But my lecturer would say you should make sure that for every sentence you don't go beyond 150 to 200 words before you just cut it so that you don't distort the flow and you don't confuse who is reading. Especially because you are not that kind of you are from a different climb, where you have to explain. So that's it. I just wanted to add that into it, and just to make sure that you are conversational in your writing. The conversation, let it be like you are talking to your lecturer. Let it be like you are having a conversation. So that would be it. And yeah, thank you. Sorry for.
Thank you so much, Akintinde. We'll move to Jessica.
I'm going to keep mine as kind of high-level tips because I'm eager to hear Faith's comments. But I think one thing I'd recommend at the onset is if your university has a rubric of its grading scale and what will get you a merit, a distinction, and a high distinction, please read that. I did that with Queen Mary, and that's how I was able to know what I had to include in my dissertation to get my distinction. So I recommend that for you so you know what your lecturer and what the expectations are at a more uniform level. With respect to proofreading and errors and things like that as well, to Kaseme's point, Your eyes get fatigued. We're all online all of the time. I learned this when I was actually an associate. Anytime I had a brief, I'd print it out and I would hand edit with a pen. So when you are done writing, that is one of my pro tips, to print it out and edit it by hand, because you're going to see different things when you're using a different skill, and you'll catch a lot more errors before you send it out. One other thing I would mention is make sure you do a wide variety of research, because that's going to do you a favor and get you a distinction in your writings. If you can demonstrate that you've done not only research, but you're able to adequately and clearly make your arguments by incorporating your research, but also giving your own original thought, that's the way you're going to get a distinction from your lecturers, because it's showing that you have a mastery of the topic you've chosen, but you've also been able to do critical thinking and can make your arguments concise and clear within an organized fashion. And I think lastly is always start with an outline, but don't be married to your outline. The outline should evolve as your research process evolves and as you get more education, and it's a process. So just be patient with yourself. But I probably have 5 or 6 different timelines of different outlines I saved over time, and I can see how my topic developed, but it helps you when you're actually going to make your structure. You've been developing your structure as you go along. So those are a couple of tips I'd give. I'm going to turn it over to Faith because I want to hear what she has to say as well, but that would be what I'd recommend.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. Just to add to what Jessica has said about the, your showing that you have done a lot of research. So one of the comments I got from my dissertation was that I was able, they said the student has shown extensive research because a range of resources was used, from journal articles to, primary resources like case laws, legislations, published books, surveys. So don't use only journal articles, don't use only books. Let there be a range of resources from different aspects, websites, blogs, publications, different ones. Even sometimes you could even use videos to you can reference my YouTube channel. But what I'm trying to say is, let there be a range of resources. Let it not just be primary resources. Let it not just be secondary. Let it be everything, like an holistic approach to your research. Faith, we have all been waiting for this moment.
I feel under a lot of pressure right now, especially because I don't have anything new to add. I feel like we've all engaged with academic writing, that we know what an examiner is looking out for. And yes, I think the most important thing, which is something that is common to what all of us, all the other speakers have said, is originality of thought. I think that's so important. That's something that wows any reader, that you're not just presenting a bunch of ideas or literature from existing work. We want to see how original are your thoughts, and it doesn't have to be something that is outside of this world. To use Jessica's words, it's really, am I really reading your voice in this work, or am I just reading a bunch of other people's voices and just wanted to see where is the author's voice? Has the author really engaged? Have you so immersed yourself in that work that I can see you, I can say this is your work? That's something that is always important. And to do that, you must ensure that the work is not descriptive. And I know we've talked about it. This critical thinking is so important. You must ensure that you're always answering the why question. Why is this so? Why is that so? Can you still hear me? I think my battery is low. Okay, yes. So you must always answer the why question. Make sure that your work is as original as possible, originality of thought. I think another thing that distinguishes an A paper from a B paper is the quality of research. And by this, I mean the resources you've used. how much of the literature have you engaged with? Are you a lazy researcher, or you are such an hardworking researcher that you've just read through so much literature, and there is a degree of expertise that is required of you especially when you're writing like LLM dissertation. You should be at that time the expert on that issue. You should be the one person who has read so much on that issue, more than the examiner. The examiner should be learning from you because you're the one researching that area. You're the one who should have most of the information on that point. So I think what the examiner wants to see is, have you graduated from a student to a researcher? Have you graduated? Because you should be the expert, to be honest, in that area at that particular time. You should be the one to say, this is what is in this area, and just bringing your critical perspective to the point. And I also believe one thing that distinguishes is the grammar. And English is not my first language. I mean, I grew up speaking Yoruba, and it's just in schools that you learn English, and I go back home to speak my native language, Yoruba. So always be humble to say, yes, English is not my first language, so I am going to put this through, say, Grammarly, or give somebody else to edit this work for me, such that my grammar is up to date. I think one thing is I'm able to find is, I know a student who just rushed through work and a student who didn't rush through work, because it would show from your grammar that you had no time to edit this work. You would just say that a student had no time to edit for grammar. So you should always edit for grammar, because you may have such original thoughts, but the flow would always be broken by all these grammatical errors, and then that distracts the reader from the quality of the work that you've done. So always edit for grammar. And lastly, don't be afraid to give your work to somebody else to read. Don't be afraid of critical review. I think we and myself inclusive, we are all scared of feedback. We can usually give people feedback, but we are so scared to receive feedback. Whenever I receive feedback, like if I'm going to bed, I don't want to open it. I'm waiting to the next day, because that's what I would be thinking of throughout the night. So, but don't be scared to receive feedback, because it improves the quality of your work. There are some things you would never say. I've just finished writing my dissertation, and it's like about 130,000 words. And if I decide to read that on my own without giving it to somebody else, I mean, I am going to just lose track of a lot of things, because it's my work anyway. I can't read it without very, very critical. So always give your work to somebody to provide such critical feedback before it goes to the examiner. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you all enough. Like, I have kept you guys for 2 hours, 20 minutes. I can't thank you guys enough in fact, I have learned so much from this session, because I am very interested in going ahead with academic writing, and I know that there's still so much to learn out there. So we're going to bring this session to a close now. Thank you so much for all of you who joined and for staying till now. We had over 170 people register. I don't know what happened. Maybe they cannot just take all the information that came in. For you who stayed till now, thank you so much. I'm going to upload this recording on my YouTube channel, which is Kuseme Ise. So you can just subscribe and click the notification bell so that whenever I post content, you will be aware. I'm going to be answering more questions on academic writing that we were not able to answer in this session. Please let us know if this session was beneficial to you in the chat box. I appreciate the resource persons who have spent their time here with us. Thank you so much to Chisom, who was there monitoring the chat box and, getting important questions to us. Thank you to Pinel, who read out the profiles and have been there to support. Toroja, all of you have been there from day one. I couldn't have done all of this without you. I'm going to just request that we take a picture. If you can, please turn on your cameras so that we can just take a picture. If you do not turn on your camera, I'll probably just, take you out of the chat or the picture so that we can have all videos on. Please, it's a kind request. Turn on your cameras. Let us see you. Let us take a picture. And let us appreciate our resource persons in the chat box. Like I said, I'm going to be bringing more content on academic writing because it is all that matters, okay? Academic writing has a lot to do for your writing, even if you are in undergraduate. I'm still waiting for people to turn on their cameras. That's why I'm just talking. Even if you are doing your undergraduate degree, imagine you get it right in undergraduate degree, you can't imagine what you will do in your master's and in your PhD. It's going to open up a lot of doors for you, and it's going to simplify a lot of things. The things I am learning now, you must have already learned, and that's going to make everything simple for you. Okay, we have a few more people. Teju, Isaac, Inimbom, Jonathan, Babawale, your cameras are still off. Thank you so much. Okay, say cheese. I'm taking more shots. Thank you so much. Like, I am so overwhelmed with information, but I have to stop because I've been talking too much. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Raina. If you have any further questions on academic writing or postgraduate studies in the UK or, postgraduate studies abroad, drop a question in my YouTube or in my Instagram, and I'll always be here for you guys. Okay, thank you so much. Faith, Jessica, Raina, Akintunde. Thank you for all of those who joined. I'm going to bring this session to a close now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kusame. Thanks, Faith and Raina. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Faith, I'll bring you back to talk about research proposal. I'll probably bring you on the channel because we didn't have the time to do it. I hope that you will be able to be available to oblige us.
That's fine. Always happy to chat. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Kusame.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.